Morning to all the participants of webinar on COVID-19, Impact on Business Development and Strategies. On behalf of Department of Business Administration, St. Joseph Engineering College, I welcome all the attendees from the fraternity of teachers, researchers, industry delegates, and most importantly, students. All of us are in the situation where businesses and strategies are going through transformation, and it becomes our duty to know how strategies are getting impacted in organizations in general and people in particular. In this direction, present webinar becomes relevant to throw light as to how students and other freshers should gear up to upskill themselves to survive and grow. In your presence, I would like to extend a special hearty welcome to our resource person for today's webinar, Mr. Nithish Bhat K. AGM, Business Development, Total Environment Building System, Bengaluru. Let us try to know some valid information about Nithish Bhat in brief. He hails from the coastal town of Udupi and completed his civil engineering graduation from NITK Surathkal. He is a gold medalist in civil engineering and has firmly believed in immersing himself in varied collegiate activities as it came, exposing himself to student administration, event planning, technical research, etc. The last 8 years since his graduation, he has worked for Total Environment, a design-based real estate development firm based in Bangalore. In his career in Total Environment, he has worked as an estimation engineer, construction personnel, project manager. He also worked as a strategy consultant with his brainchild called Business Artist Group for the chairman's office for 3 years. As a part of BAC team, he was closely working with Director of Total Environment Building System in business expansion, leadership management, and sales strategy development. Now, he leads the sales team for Total Environment System. For his outstanding contribution to the overall growth of the organization, he has got many awards and recognitions. The few honorable mentions are Young Achiever Award in 2013, You Made a Difference Award in the years 2014 and 15, and Significant Contributor Award in the year 2017 and 18. He has been shortlisted for the MBA program in prestigious Cambridge University currently. I'm proud to say that this is the second webinar he is conducting for SJC. We like him for his style of presentation with lots of practical insights and live cases. Mr. Nithish Bhat, on behalf of Department of Business Administration, SJC, I accord a very warm welcome to you, sir.
My pleasure to be a part of the entire forum today, and thank you once again for the opportunity. I would like to personally thank you, ma'am, Anjali Ganesh, for this opportunity, for connecting with me to make this possible, and especially to Dr. Prakash Pinto for giving us this platform and this opportunity to interact with the students. Thank you so much. I'm ready to start. I'm ready to start when you tell me a go ahead. Give me a go ahead.
Yes. The webinar will continue for the next 45 minutes, followed by the question answers. At the end of the webinar, we'll be sharing the feedback form in the chat box and to your mail. After receiving the response feedback from your end, we'll be happy to issue the e-certificate within 3 working days. I request Mr. Nithish Bhat to start his session and inspire our participants on COVID-19 impact on business development and strategies. The platform is yours, Nithish. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I'm going to share my screen. Please let me know if this is visible.
Okay. Yes.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, visible.
All right. Okay. Once again, thank you for the opportunity and a warm welcome to all of you present here. Sometimes I think 10 o'clock is quite early, and I can see about 125 participants today. I'm glad you all could make it, and I'm grateful that you all could make it. So I would want to see this as a conversation with you all, where I'm going to share my views and ideas, and I'm more than happy to receive your questions. And I hope what I'm going to present in the next 40-45 minutes is going to be of some use to all of you, and we all can benefit out of this and walk away with some to-dos for ourselves, the way I would like to look at it. Before I begin, a couple of things that I want to mention here. So this is more of a conversation and less of a presentation. And I would want to emphasize on the fact that I am an MBA aspirant too. So I am with you. We are all looking at this together and we are exchanging ideas. That's how I would want to look at this. And I am going to predominantly use the slides as a tool to portray my ideas, and the slides are not going to be my focal point. So you will not look at a lot of data on the slides. I will talk about the slides. You're more than welcome to take notes and connect with me post the presentation to, further discuss any queries you may have or further discuss on, your career aspirations and things like that. And the way I'm going to cover this entire presentation or conversation is through a lot of stories. I believe stories have the potential to really move a person, and I really like sharing stories and communicating what I want to communicate through it. So here is a brief on what the talk is going to be about. I will first talk about COVID-19, the two sides of the coin, the way we have to look at the current pandemic situation. Then we quickly move into organizational strategies that are evolving due to COVID-19 and the pandemic. Then we tiptoe into business development strategies. And when I'm talking about the business development strategies, I would want to showcase those through the purview of real estate. So I'm going to give you an introduction into real estate so that it's a new topic for you all and a new introduction to a new industry to you all. And then finally, I want to wrap up today's conversation through showcasing you how to build a personal brand, because today the way one markets himself or herself is through the personal brand. The more you can project yourself correctly, the more the industry is going to absorb you, and you're going to find very lucrative options for you to work in the market. So we will touch base on that as well. So one more thing that I want to point out is that the pandemic started in India at least somewhere in the month of March, and first we thought that it is a 15-day phenomena, then it became a month phenomena, then we thought, okay, this is going to last for 3 months. But the way we are looking at it right now, humanity in totality doesn't have a permanent solution yet. Vaccines are not yet there, and governments are not able to curb it completely. So our understanding of the pandemic, our understanding of the situation is evolving by the day. So with that thought, I want to let you know that my talk here is not a sacrosanct document. It is not a rule book. This is set in motion. So what probably I'm giving you insights today may become obsolete or may change with the evolution of the pandemic itself. So keep that thought in mind. It's interesting to note that webinars and talks started immediately once we all started settling at home, through the initial days of pandemic itself. But today, if you go back to some of those recordings and if you see the videos, they're going to not make a lot of sense, because our understanding of the pandemic is for the first time. So our ideas, the strategies in the organizations, the strategies deployed by the governments itself are changing by the day. So you need to give that benefit of doubt to everybody who is working on the pandemic, because this is the first time that something like this is happening in our generation. And so our thoughts, our strategies will evolve, organizational thoughts will evolve, governmental strategies and international strategies will evolve as well. So with that, the first question for the day, COVID, is it doomsday or opportunity? See, it's very easy for all of us to think that the situation is worsening by the day. The situation is not going to get better. I was to do something, but because of the pandemic, I lost that opportunity. We can all easily get bogged down by the situation. We can lose our heart. It's happened to all of us, right? I have lost a couple of opportunities because of the pandemic. I have not been able to travel a lot because of the pandemic. I know my friends who had gotten job placements in Germany, but now they are not able to travel to Germany. I know my friends who are now getting kicked out of the US because of the new employment policies that US is coming up because of the pandemic and the economic slowdown. So it's very easy for all of us to get bogged down and think that, this is the end of it. Things are not going to get better. But, that is not going to serve you. It is not going to serve your family, or it is not going to serve our country at large. We need to look at this as an opportunity. All of us have to stay positive, and especially the cohort that you all are. You are MBA graduates. That means, you understand the business. You can look at opportunities. You can crack problems. You can build cases around it and come up with solutions. So for all of us, we need to start looking at this as an opportunity to build something new, to create something new. That's how I would want to look at the pandemic as. And through the conversation today, I will speak about a lot of new opportunities that are coming up and the way we need to look at the pandemic to build something new. So that's the thought. Let's stop thinking of COVID as a doomsday. Let's start thinking of COVID as an opportunity. Moving into organizational strategies that are evolving through the pandemic. Firstly, I would want to touch base on leadership through the pandemic. Even before I delve deeper into this, I would want the first poll to be showcased so that we can all do a simple poll and see what your thoughts are, and then I'll share my thoughts on the same. Can I request for the polling question? Is the poll running?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think we are closer to our answer in the polls now, aren't we?
You can see the results on your screen.
Is it? I am unable to see it. Let me check. Okay. So we are saying that the focus on COVID-19 and pandemic is about 21%, focus on long term, and no answer is about 49%. So a lot of people think that, the majority of the people who voted are thinking that the leaders and the CEO should continue focusing on the long term rather than focus on the pandemic. That's a great thought process because that's very true. Because we, at the end of the day, senior management, the leader, has to keep focusing on what the organization stands for. What is the product that the organization is trying to provide to the market, or what is the service that the organization is trying to provide to the market? The leader at the helm of an organization cannot stop visualizing on the long-term goal. The moment the leader curbs on that thought process and starts putting all his or her energies towards the current temporary situation, the long-term sight is lost. Then you're firefighting on the current scenario. You are only thinking about how do I survive or how do I focus on the current situation. So you need to set up a task force. You need to focus on the current issues, but at the same time, you need to have that longer vision for what the organization actually stands for. What do you have to do as an organization? So I think that way the poll results are indicative of the same as well. So I'm very glad that you all opine on this. So that's one of the first things that a lot of good leaders are doing through the pandemic, where they are continuing to focus on the long-term delivery, but they're also looking at new business opportunities for themselves through the pandemic. Be it digitization, be it providing new solutions for erstwhile non tech, non-digital organizations, so on and so forth. I'll get to the details. A few examples here. See, leading through the pandemic is a very difficult task. Especially due to the fact that most of us are working from home now, and there is no organization that is working together from a set office or set office spaces. It becomes very difficult for a leader to lead through such kind of a situation, because that one-on-one contact or a face-to-face contact is not there anymore. So given these kind of situations, it becomes even more important for the communication to continue from the leader. It becomes very important for the leader to give confidence to the employees of the organization and drive the organization in the direction that the leader has always wanted. With a lack of control per se on people, because people are working remotely, there is an easy chance of one, the leader getting diverted, two, leader getting into a cocoon where leader focuses on the work but forgets that there is a larger organization to take care of, and three, employees themselves may also get diverted and distracted. So it's all the more important for leaders today to focus on their employees, focus on communicating that we are all together, and focus on increasing or working on the culture of the organization. So it's very easy for an organization to build an organizational culture when everybody is under one roof, when everybody is working together. The style, the way they project their brand, the way they communicate, the quality of work, all of it can be controlled when things are under one roof. But the moment you are allowing people to work from various locations from their homes, it's difficult to create a culture. It's difficult to impart or sustain a culture. So this is a situation which is very challenging for leaders, where they have to now focus on all of these things. And here are a few examples of what different organizations have done to sort of ensure that their culture and their trust in the entire organization continues. For example, Cisco gave an assurance to all of its employees that they are not going to let the employees go. They are not getting into a firing zone with the employees. Facebook and Google gave similar assurance to all the contracted employees. These organizations work with a lot of contract force, but they've given that kind of an assurance, saying that you are important for us, and we know that this is a very difficult situation for all of us. So let's work it out together. We will support you. We will not ask you to leave right now. Netflix. Netflix is an entertainment firm at the end of the day. They are not able to shoot new series, new web series, new programs for us. But that doesn't mean they let go of their production engineers and their crew. They have they've been supporting their crew through this, and they've said that we are going to pay you the salaries. We are going to continue to have you on board with us. Amazon in fact has gone the reverse. Amazon has started hiring more people to give them more employment during these times, because they come under the essentials category. So they are absorbing more people so that people have employment right now. Capgemini. Capgemini did a very interesting thing. The moment the pandemic set in, the moment they realized that their employees were panicking, Capgemini was one of the first organizations to wrap up the appraisals for this financial year, and also credited their bonuses and communicated their new salaries. So it took one extra step in that front. I'll also give an example that I've gone through. In my own organization, Total Environment, we are a real estate firm at the end of the day. And real estate as an industry has gone through a lot of difficulties in the last 3 years. Be it the demonetization, be it the implementation of GST across the country, where the taxation for property purchases were increased, be it the implementation of a regulatory body called RERA, Real Estate Regulatory Authority, or be it variation in the GST numbers continuously. Every year, people think this is an industry where they can bring new policies. So real estate as such has been going through a little bit of a rut, and the liquidity is under question. Banks are not easily funding real estate organizations. So through all of this, I have seen a lot of companies laying off people. I've seen a lot of companies saying that we're not going to pay salary for the next 2 or 3 months. But the head of my organization, Kamal, came out and he said that he is not going to lay off anybody. He said that I trust my people, and I believe the people in the organization are the difference makers between total environment and any other organization in this industry. So I will continue to retain all of you. I'll continue to pay all of you what I've promised, because at the end of the day, organizations are run by people. So this is what leadership is, and this is how leadership is evolved through the pandemic. And companies are a reflection of who and how their leaders are reacting right now. So it's very essential to build trust. It's very essential to build a belief in the employees, so that employees then continue to give that kind of a trust back to you. Employees then uh, believe in the organization, give longevity to the organization, and they then start giving back to the organization by working more, by working with greater quality and greater attention. So that's what's been evolving in the leadership front through the pandemic. If we have to look at what's happening in employees circle in during the pandemic, from the organizational point of view, this is a great opportunity for a lot of organizations to indulge the employees in upskilling and cross skilling. Through that, they can retain the talent. They can invest in the employees. Right now, the cost of investment is low because a lot of training programs, a lot of trainers, a lot of upskilling programs are available at bare minimum or zero cost. So it's a great opportunity for organizations to invest in employees to upskill and cross skill them and retain the good talent, so that when economy takes a spin, they are blazing on all guns. They are all ready and they are immediately starting off. They don't want to then think of hiring new talent, training the talent, and things like that. This is from the organization side of you. Now, from the employee side of you, what do they have to do during the pandemic to continue to support their organization? You know, this is an article that I had written recently on LinkedIn, where I emphasized on the fact that it's equally important for the employees to also support organizations right now because of the myriad changes that are happening, lack of liquidity, regulatory changes, economic crisis, remote working. So employees need to support the organizations. And how do they do that? They can do that by firstly focusing on themselves, having an active lifestyle, having a fixed schedule of work every day, being very transparent in their work every day, setting up public work task lists so that their managers and their leaders can look at what work they are doing through the day, actively participating in events, training, activities within the organization, remotely conducted, maintaining a continuous communication channel with the peers and with the managers, communicating what is happening in their life, communicating what is happening in their work, very upfront communication on any issues faced will really help in organization functioning smoothly. Upskilling themselves. Upskilling is basically learning something new. Say you are into finance. Through the pandemic, you can actually learn new accounting methods. You can certify yourself through a CFA certification. So upskilling becomes important so that you can add more value into the organization, or cross skilling yourself. Say you are a commerce person in the finance team. It doesn't hurt for you to actually discuss what happens in the design side of it, or the product side of it, or in the marketing side of it. So you spend a little more time, you connect remotely with the marketing team and start understanding their processes, so that somewhere it will help the overall organization in working together as a team, extending a helping hand. A lot of our team members need help right now, not necessarily in the work front. They may need help in traveling back home. They may need help in getting the essentials for themselves. So you can always extend a helping hand, and you can help create a personal brand through that, helping your firm build an endearing brand image. See, every organization has to have customers, and through the pandemic, organizations will survive if the customers feel that these organizations are authentic and truthful. You as an employee can help build this brand of the organization with the customers, by ensuring that you're communicating honestly, you are communicating on time, and you're not delaying any communication. You're being upfront about any issues that the organization is facing with the customers, by helping a vendor really get some funds through your organization so that the vendor also can sustain. You can market your organization. A lot of organizations have moved into digital marketing right now. And once organizations are doing digital marketing, it's very easy for you to then click and share. Send a link of your organization to your friends. So that way, you're indirectly spreading knowledge about your organization. So somebody down the chain may be interested in the services or the product of your organization. So that way, it becomes easy for the organization to be present, constantly ideating and innovating on new ways, new ideas within the firm, how to cost cut, how to increase the quality of your service or product. So these are different ways in which employees can give back to the organization. And this is what is happening today and evolving today through the pandemic. So let's look at some of the industries and what's happening in these industries, or what is evolving in these industries through the pandemic. I may not be able to cover all the industries, and I may not have that kind of a knowledge in all the industries, but uh, we can probably say look at the IT and IT services industry. Yes, there are very large projects that they work on. Most of their projects are moving smoothly, but especially because India is a service provider to other countries, and the economic crisis in the other countries are also quite a bit right now. They are taking a little bit of a hit, especially in the countries like US, where there is an entire different situation evolving due to employment to locals, pushing out foreign nationals, pushing out services coming from foreign nationals. So those are the kind of IT and IT services that are getting impacted. The other reason why IT and IT services is getting slightly impacted is because people have started working remotely, and not everybody has the facility or the means to work remotely. So that's one of the industries. Then if you look at services as an industry, essential services is looking at a good boom right now, because uh, anyways, there was digitization happening of essential services. Not a lot of people were comfortable on ordering groceries and vegetables and essentials online. But through this pandemic, people have now been forced to do that, because the risk of going out and purchasing by themselves is much higher than ordering something home. So that way, essential services is looking at a boom. Educational services looking at a good jump right now. A lot of online education platforms have sprung up, certified courses have sprung up, and very good quality educational material is now very easily available online. So startups on the education forefront, focusing on digital education, online education, is looking at a real good upswing. Entertainment as an industry is also looking at a good upswing, because people have a lot more time at home. People have a lot more time to watch things. So platforms such as Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hotstar, they are looking at a good upswing and a good registration of new members on their platform. Consulting. So consulting, I personally feel, is an evergreen industry, because businesses are going good, you need consultants. Businesses are not going good, you need consultants. So consultancy firms are coming up with newer ways to tackle the current situation, help the leaders tackle the current pandemic situation. Also, prior to the pandemic, not a lot of Indian organizations had a robust digital setup where people could work remotely. The internet storage facilities, all of that was not very good. So consultancies have jumped in to help set up these very robust networks for organizations to progress well right now. Manufacturing, yes, manufacturing is looking at an up and down right now, especially when you look at automobile. Not a lot of people are commuting these days, isn't it? So manufacturing is looking at a little bit of a slack right now. Real estate, interestingly, is looking at an uptick. That's because people want to move into homes. People now do not want to adjust to rental homes. They want a better space for themselves. Earlier, they were spending about 8 to 10 hours a day in their homes. Just sleep, have breakfast, leave to office, come back, sleep again. but now they're spending an entire day, almost 24 hours in their homes. So they have now realized what was wrong with their existing homes and they're upgrading to better spaces. Also, because rentals are not going down, they're continuing to pay high rents, but bank loans are lesser. So that's more attractive for customers today to purchase a home rather than look at staying in a rental home. So real estate is looking at a little bit of an uptick. So this is what is happening across various industries, and this is just a small cross section, just to give you an understanding of how there are ups and downs, and in some of the most unthought industries there is an uptick rather than a downtick. Now, moving into business development strategies. Before I delve deeper into business development strategies and marketing strategies, I want to introduce real estate as an industry or a sector to you all. Real estate as a sector is a brick and mortar sector at the end of the day, isn't it? I mean, it's quite trivial to look at it that way. But having said that, the complexities in the industry is not paralleled by a lot of other industries, because point number one, the lead to delivery timeline for a real estate industry is the maximum. We cannot build large apartments or villas in, say, 2 months or 3 months or 1 year. The gestation period is about 3 to 5 years, sometimes extends to 7 years. The investment by individuals is also very high. Even if you look at a car, you get a car delivery in a month, and probably you spend about 30-40 lakhs. For the highest, most expensive cars I'm talking about, you also get a car at 3 to 4 lakhs as well. But when you look at homes, when you look at apartments, it's upwards of 1 crore today. So your investment is larger, your gestation period is larger. So it becomes a very complex industry in just these two factors. Now add to it the fact that multiple different industries, sectors, and businesses have to come together to deliver this real estate. Be it design, architectural design, structural design, be it consultancy, marketing, sales, finance, be it manufacturing. We have to manufacture the doors and windows. We have to manufacture the light fixtures. Be it supply chain. We need to get the materials from across the globe. We have to get the marble from Italy. We have to get the wood from Canada. Just to give you an example. So it's an amalgamation of multiple different industries and sectors that's coming together. So that makes real estate very interesting. And that is where we need a lot of thought leaders. We need a lot of MBA graduates today to hop on and start solving each of these problems to uh, reduce the complexity within the industry. So this is just a brief introduction to the kind of cases and kind of possibilities in the industry. So now what I want to do is I want to give you insights into what is happening in marketing and business development strategies, but I will take cases from real estate to give you that insight, and you will see that you can easily extrapolate the same understanding into any industry today, and it's happening the same across industries. So the first case, not a lot of real estate organizations were digitally. The moment the pandemic set in, we started going digital. So we started going digital for two main purposes. One is lead generation. Erstwhile real estate industries were predominantly marketing through newspapers, through print media, through hoardings, and through very physical channels, word of mouth, having partners on board with us who will then market our property and things like that. But there is a drastic movement into digital channels now. The spends in digital marketing through Facebook ads, through Google ads, through LinkedIn ads, through YouTube videos, and things like that is multiplied in the last 2 to 3 months. And we have drastically cut down on our spends in any other channel. We're not doing any newspaper ads anymore because we've got a statistic that in Bangalore, at least 33% of newspaper readership has dropped through the pandemic, because at the end of the day, newspapers are showing the same news again and again, and it's not very exciting or positive news. People would rather use apps where they can choose what kind of news they want to read today. So that way, that's a complete change in media and how we are focusing on digital ads today. More importantly for us, through the pandemic, because there were lockdowns and we could not meet customers personally or physically, we started utilizing a lot more digital channels to virtually meet the customers. Video conferencing became a huge boom. I mean, you all would have heard about Zoom, which is a US organization focusing on video conferencing that had a huge uptick due to the pandemic. So we started doing video conferencing. We started building virtual reality for our customers. We started creating walkthroughs, video walkthroughs for our customers, where customers could sequentially go through what is the project, how will my home look at in the future, currently what is the surrounding looking like, what are my views from my balcony. So we started creating virtual videos for our customers. So a lot of digital based development started happening through the pandemic. The same is true not only for real estate but also for other industries. There are virtual showrooms for car displays today. There are virtual malls today for shopping for you. So that's how the digital platform started getting developed, and that's how we are extensively using digital platforms today, including payment gateways, including overviews, virtual reality, and things like that. Moving on, new markets. So through the pandemic, we started realizing that only through the current markets, we will not be able to get the kind of sales that we're looking at, get the kind of business that we're looking at. So we started tapping into new markets. And how did these strategies evolve? Very simple. If you look at real estate, for instance, we started seeing that Hong Kong has continued to have an unrest because of Chinese intervention in Hong Kong. So a lot of Indians in Hong Kong started returning to India. So we started digitally marketing and reaching out to Indians in Hong Kong because we knew they were coming back and they needed homes in India. Same thing happened with the Middle Eastern diaspora of Indians. Middle East started asking Indians to return back to India. So that was a market for us. Same thing is now happening with the people in the Americas, where in the United States, people are returning to India. There is a statistic that says that about 90,000 Indians are bound to return to India in the next 6 to 8 months because their H-1B visas are getting over, or they don't have a visa already and they are stuck there because international flight travel is not there right now. So these are ways in which we started looking at new markets and new market possibilities for ourselves. Renewed customer centricity. So the moment we started going virtual, the moment we started doing everything through digital platform, there became an all the more necessity for us to connect deeply with the customer. Simply because when you're physically present, customers can understand your body language. Customers can understand how genuine you are, and they can get a very easy experience by talking to you. But that's not the case when you are online and you're trying to virtually connect with someone. So that's where we started using a lot more customer driven, customer friendly platforms to communicate what we want to communicate. And this is the same across industries today. What is the inventory that's moving? So this is a very interesting case. The situations and the problems are evolving by the day. So when the pandemic set in, nobody wanted to transact in our industry. People wanted to wait. People wanted to see what is going to happen, and they didn't want to take a decision on the purchase of a home. But when they realized that the pandemic is a little more long term and that they're going to continue to stay in their homes, they decided that it is time for me to purchase a home because I'm not comfortable where I am. So then the first case was, okay, now there is a demand for ready to move in inventory. How do we start marketing that and how do we start moving that? Then we started seeing that there is a sudden surge in luxury real estate market, which means that people started buying homes which are 7 crores and 8 crores and 9 crores. Because as I see it, this is a group of people who are very well to do, who have been adjusting till today, but now they feel that I can negotiate really hard in today's market. Organizations are going to give me a better discount, and I need to upgrade myself because I want to live comfortably. So rather than the lower ticket inventory moving 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, or 1 crore ticket moving, we started seeing 7 crore ticket, 9 crore ticket moving. Then we had to immediately change our strategies to see how to market these homes. how to connect with the customers who are looking at this level of homes. And then started wondering, okay, now, the higher ticket value homes are more, because obviously we can't just sell those segment homes, right? We have to sell all the segments. So the cases and the problems are continuously evolving. What do you do? How do you tackle a case? And one of the interesting solutions that my organization came up with was that we started understanding that a lot of people want to upgrade right now, want to move into a new home right now. But what will they do with their existing homes? A lot of people told us that I'm very interested in moving to a total environment home, but I've already invested. I have to sell that and then move into your home. So we started a new engine where we started helping them to sell their homes. It was a very quick idea. The evolution of the idea started in April. By May, we had a robust plan, and by June, we launched the idea. And today, we have customers who are telling us, okay, this is the property I want to sell, and this is the property I want to buy from you. So we are managing both those today as we go forward. So these are very interesting cases, and this is how the evolution is constantly happening. And one more aspect in the entire customer centricity is in the way we need to communicate right now through the pandemic, because we don't want to be very upfront on the customer, right? Because they are also going through problems, and you can't disturb them every day, call them and ask them, would you want to buy this today, or would you want to invest in an insurance today? It's not right to constantly disturb them. So probably we need to identify that one focal point where we can connect with the customers. One of the ideas was, just ask them, how are you doing today? Are you safe today? So we started off with that kind of a communication. Then we started a communication around positivity, how to stay positive through the pandemic. So we tried to create a very endearing brand image for ourselves. And then we moved into marketing, where we started showcasing our homes, where we started telling them, upgrade your lifestyle today, move into a home with a lot more greenery today. And that hit the chord. They got a good image of our company. Then we started showcasing our homes. So they wanted to buy the homes. So that's how the strategy is evolving by the day. And these are problems and cases on a daily basis for all of us to work on. So, in all of this, what is it for you, and how would you fit into all of this is an important question that I want to answer today, because I think most of you are students today who are looking at joining an organization. So, you want to understand, how do I build myself, portray myself to be fit to join an organization? So, in all the things that I covered today, what very clearly comes out is that organizations today need people who are quick on their toes, who are very analytical, and who can come up with solutions. More importantly, who are fresh and who are ready to take the risks, and who can give that extra hour to actually focus on what the workers and then deliver on a long term. So it's people like you who can fit into these requirements of, being fresh, being ready to take that risk, and ready to work really hard to achieve the targets of the company. And in order to be visible, you need to focus on your personal brand. How do you do that? How do you build your personal brand? As I see it, you can currently, given the current scenario, build your personal brand either through academia or through society. These are two easy options through which you can build a really strong brand for yourself and portray yourself as the professional for the future, which companies need to focus on and hire today. And I'll tell you as to why I'm focusing on academia and society as well. So when it comes to academia, you can focus on certifications. You can focus on getting a CFA certification if your long-term dream is to be in the finance sector, or if you want to get into the legal and the law side of your entire, and you can do a company secretaryship. All of this are remote certifications, so you needn't travel to a classroom. You can study by yourself, and you can give the examinations, and you can get the certifications. If your focus is on operations management, if you want to get into generic management in the organizations, then you can get PMP certified. If your focus is on sustainability, if you want to be a consultant for building an organization sustainability, then you can be LEED certified. These are all materials that are easily available. You study and you give an examination for certification. That showcases that you've gone beyond your college curriculum. You really want to skill yourself and you really want to project yourself as a different candidate during hiring. There are a lot of very good online courses from very reputed universities today. Given that all of you are management graduates, you can look at data analytics, you can look at business finance, you can look at pricing strategy, you can look at courses on negotiations. These are the ones that will really showcase that you've learned something apart from your regular curriculum, given the current scenario. Large organizations like Oxford, Cambridge, Wharton, MIT, they are all giving these courses, either free of cost or at a very minimal price today, so that you can upskill yourself. There are very interesting and very important consulting video series through our IIMs. IIMA has a consulting video series in YouTube. IIM Lucknow has a consulting video series in YouTube. You can watch them. You can see how they solve the cases, how they go around solving problems. There are very exciting webinar series that are happening across the world. I know there are a lot of webinars that happen constantly, but you need to pick what really works for you and who you want to follow. So when you follow like a Wharton series or Oxford and Cambridge series of webinars or London Business School webinars, what essentially happens is that you start understanding how that particular professor is thinking. Then you can follow the professor on LinkedIn. You can follow professor's work on LinkedIn and probably also connect with the professor at a later date to see if you can remotely do some projects with the professor. So that's how you build your network. That's how you continue working and building your profile. There are a lot of LinkedIn interactions and opportunities. Cases over coffee is one such example, which is run by a couple of my mentors, where on every Sunday they solve cases and they connect two different people who come together and solve the cases. You can be one of them. You can follow such things if you're really interested in such management opportunities as well. You can publish an article, basis your thesis or basis your a project that you've done. Yesterday, I discussed with quite a few of you, and you said that you've done theses or projects. You can write a paper on that. You can publish it on LinkedIn. These will certainly build a brand for you. Organizations will keep looking at you, and the moment you're doing something like this, they will think that you're going that extra mile, and those are the kind of people that they want to recruit right now. You can do a research project for your professor. Someone was telling me yesterday that they did a project on employment opportunities in Bangalore. These are very exciting projects that you can do, and then you can publish reports to actually portray that you have that interest to build a very exciting profile. This brings me to the second polling question. Actually, I would request the second poll to be showcased now. Let's get some answers on that. And we are coming closer to the results, aren't we? I see about 40% of the people present here today not using or using LinkedIn very less. It's very surprising because LinkedIn provides us a lot of opportunities. Firstly, LinkedIn allows you to connect with a lot of peers and a lot of industry experts. It allows you to connect with a lot of companies, and LinkedIn actively keeps throwing job opportunities. So It's a very easy data source for job openings and opportunities. A lot of people keep posting that there are opportunities in their organizations, and LinkedIn itself keeps giving lists of opportunities as well. And LinkedIn is one source where you can easily see what webinar series are happening. You can easily follow professors who are doing good work. You can easily follow universities that are doing good work. You can follow companies. Every company has a LinkedIn profile, and every company is very active on LinkedIn, be it Swiggy, be it Zomato, uh, be it any of the online education platforms that you've seen, be it Government of India, which also showcases job opportunities in LinkedIn, or be it one of the international companies, Netflix, Amazon, Facebook, all of them are very active. So I really request all of you to create a profile on LinkedIn and start spending a little more time on LinkedIn. There are good management articles, there are good business reviews over there. So it'll really help to build your profile if you're very active on LinkedIn. Today, a lot of hiring organizations ask you not for your CVs. They just say, share your LinkedIn profile. We will understand what your profile is. So it's an automatic way of sharing your work profile or your CV when you share a LinkedIn profile. So I really want all of you to spend a little more time on LinkedIn. So why academia and how academia helps build a personal brand is through showcasing that you have knowledge. As I see it, in an era where most of it is going to be artificial intelligence, most of it is going to be driven by automated bots and automation. Humans can make a difference in two significant aspects. One, through knowledge, and two, through emotions. So when you focus on academia, when you focus on webinars, developing your LinkedIn profile, reading through a lot of material, reading books, participating in online courses, then you're building knowledge for yourself. So that's the first way you can differentiate yourself in the market today. The second way is through society, and I'll tell you why society. The pandemic has given a lot of opportunities for all of us to actively take part in the society, be it in participating in relief works by the government or taking active roles in NGOs. I personally know these two platforms. eVidyaloka provides education to rural students, and education is provided through online classes. So you don't even have to travel to a remote location, you don't have to physically be present. You just have to work with them where 1 hour or 2 hours every week, you can teach a fifth standard or a sixth or a seventh standard student mathematics, science, social science. So it's as simple as that. But what you're doing is you are adding value to the society, and you're also creating a personal brand for yourself by showing that you are interested in these aspects. Catchafire.org. This is a platform, this is a website that gives you multiple options to consult for 2 weeks, consult for 3 weeks, be a part of an NGO for 2 weeks, and through very different opportunities. It needn't be on one field at all. All different fields are available on this platform. You can also give yourself self projects. You can plan an essential supply to local workers, people who clean your streets. Uh, this is an personal example where I and a few of my friends, we realized that there are about 34 street cleaners and sweepers in my locality. So we started a small campaign where we reached out to all our friends and family, where we told them that, these Paura Karmikas, they are not getting their essentials properly. They are not getting their salaries properly through the pandemic. So we put together about 30,000 rupees through friends and family donations. And then we bought all the essential supplies for all these Paura Karmikas. You can definitely take up such small projects. It needn't be a huge scale. But if you think you can do it in a small scale and then expand, definitely expand. Then that becomes a big, great idea, which you can really talk about as a story in your profile. Database of all local medical stores. These are just examples. You can give yourself self projects, create a website with your data analytics skills on COVID-19 cases in Bangalore right now. Showcase how you want to build a website. Then you can use this website to show that this is what I did during the pandemic. Show that you care. Ultimately, you know, you do work in the society because you need to show that you care. You have the emotional intelligence in you. That's really important in today's market to differentiate yourself. One is knowledge, other one is emotions. In a world that is going to be driven more and more by artificial intelligence and automation, this is how humans can stand as important pieces of the puzzle through knowledge and through emotions, emotional intelligence. So coming to the last couple of slides, so ultimately, when you build a personal brand, you should be able to communicate that brand through a very effective CV or a resume. So nobody has the time to read more than a page. So restrict your CV to a page. Talk about the impact of your work or your internship rather than describing what you did. Everybody can ask you what you did, but they want to understand what was the result coming out of that work. If you can easily say that, then they'll be more interested in even reaching out to you in the first place. Show that you're passionate. Take part in a sport, learn a music instrument, learn music. Passion needs to come out from you for somebody to really look at your profile and hire you. Show that you care, as I told you. Show that you are ready to learn, you want to learn through the knowledge section that I just spoke to you about. Build a story around your profile. It shouldn't be a bullet point thing. The CV should be bullet point, but the way you communicate that needs to be a complete story about yourself. Do you have answers to these questions? This is something that I'll leave for you all to think. I'm not going to discuss any of these. Do you have answers to these questions? Describe yourself outside work or studies. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Tell us one success story and one failure that you faced in life. What is that one instance where you led a team or you worked in a team? What are some of the challenges that you overcome in your life? How are you different or unique compared to the other candidates that we are looking at hiring? So these are some of the simple questions that recruiters ask you, apart from core or domain specific questions. And these actually create the difference between a good candidate and a great candidate. So think about these questions. Think about the answers for these questions. Ultimately, ask questions constantly and consistently. You need to ask questions. Do not settle for something that people say is as is. Ask questions, ask whys, ask whats. Convince yourself of the answer before accepting something. Seek original work, seek quality work, because you are in the beginning of your career, right? Work or pay for a particular city or a luxury, because all that will come if you start doing good work and quality work. When you are 20 to 30, follow a great leader, join a great company, and learn to do things properly, because that's more important. If you put your schedule, if you put your life through these rigors, post 30, these rigors will automatically take you to where you want to be. That's about it. Thank you. And I would like to tell you that, this is more an initiation of a conversation. Would be glad if you all want to connect with me, talk to me, so that, I can be of some help to all of you as well. That's why I've given my coordinates here as well. So I think I've stuck to my time, and I thank you all once again for the opportunity here.
Well, wonderful session, Nithish, by you. And you have covered most of the practical aspects of strategy, leadership, and business development. I'm sure participants would have benefited a lot from this. We have a couple of questions here. Shall we take it? Not audible?
Yes, you are audible. I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, fine. We have a question from Dr. Babita Rohit. Will the leadership style of the organization change after the pandemic?
See, leadership styles have been evolving. I definitely think the leadership styles will change to adjust to, how the organizations will continue working. But having said that, that very important word is culture. So I think every organization would want to retain the culture of the organization. So leadership will change to accommodate the changing market scenarios and the changing employment scenarios, but leadership will not change in a way where the culture of the organization itself is going to change, because everybody believes that they are unique because of the culture, and they would not want to change that aspect of it. Any I can't hear you, ma'am.
Okay. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes.
There's a question from Assistant Professor, Civil Engineering Department, Mr. Ajit. What are the various ways to stand out in LinkedIn account?
Okay. That's a very interesting question, actually. Various ways to stand out when you have a LinkedIn account is to publish small articles, write very genuine and deep articles. That's one of the easiest ways to actually stand out in terms of a LinkedIn account, and also be very active in liking and promoting the brand of events, brand of material that you associate yourself. Now, for example, LinkedIn today has everything in it, right? I mean, it's almost become a social media platform and less of a job and work platform. But having said that, the way you can be present more, the way you want, is by sharing the right kind of content, sharing the right kind of articles that you want other people to associate you with. If you feel that you are a thought leader with very specific ideas on leadership, then it will help to share a lot more TED Talks on leadership, for example, so on and so forth, right? But one of the definitive ways is to actually write great articles and share some of your work on LinkedIn. That will really create a brand for yourself on LinkedIn.
Yes, we'll take other questions. This is
Please.
Dr. Sureka Naik,
Okay.
calling from Christ University, Bangalore.
Okay.
She says, good, Mr. Nithish Bhat, very interesting topic and very interesting session that the webinar has touched upon. The forecast for academic institutions in the pandemic is very bleak, since we have taken classes to an online platform, and there is a parallel to it that is already in place, like the online courses. So how can educational institutes differentiate and strategize themselves in case online classes become the new norm, now that the students are absorbing the idea of learning from the comforts of their homes?
Yes. That's once again, I mean, a very exciting question over there. How I see educational institutions differentiating themselves is because, unlike a lot of online portals and online educational material that is already available, they have always been looked at as not the main course or the material, but associated additional material for somebody to build their skills on. So, how a true university can differentiate themselves is by the brand that the university or institution is created for itself. A material or an online course from Christ University will have its own importance, because Christ University is an established brand today. Unlike a lot of other material that's available through a lot of online educational tools. So that is how we are going to create the differentiation. Definitely, the impetus is going to be on the quality of the material, and if you can add in elements of interaction with the professors, if you can add in the elements of professors' works being present as part of the course material, then definitely that's going to create the difference. But because most of the online platforms don't have access to that kind of material, it's just curriculum and courses and vocational courses. But the university brand plus access to some great professors and material will definitely help you differentiate yourself from a myriad of other things that are available already online.
Yes, Nitish, we are taking one last question for the day today for this particular webinar. This is from Dr. Purushottam Chipar. He's a professor from mechanical engineering.
Okay.
Good morning, Nitish Bhat. Interesting topic that the webinar has touched upon. one second. The big industries, especially IT, can keep their employees engaged through trainings, upskilling, etc. But for MSMEs or small trading companies, where employees are more into fabrication, manufacturing, and or any physical work, it's very difficult to manage or survive. I would like to hear your opinion, please.
Absolutely. I mean, this is, I think, one area which is not completely figured out as yet. As you rightly pointed out, I think upskilling and cross-skilling is very easy when we look at very established industries and organizations. When it comes to small scale and medium industries, it becomes very difficult for them to invest so much time or money, especially given the current situation on these kind of skills. But I would still feel that the government focus on skilling right now is a very good opportunity for even these industries to skill their people, and the cost or investment on such kind of skilling is not much. I'm telling you because we ourselves took our masons and carpenters through an upskilling process through the Government of India initiative, where they were not only certified, but they really skilled themselves up to do better work at the end of the day. So I see that as an opportunity. But having said that, there is not a lot of focus or opportunities right now from private players in this field for. So one way to look at it is yes, there is a problem. Other way to look at it is there is an opportunity for somebody to actually come up with possibilities in this space. Really exciting to see if somebody can actually crack this space for MSMEs. Low cost, very effective, hands-on kind of training.
Well, there is one last question posed by an there are different questions, actually interesting questions asked, but because of want of time, we would not be able to take all the questions today. I would request the participants to ask these questions to the email link of the resource person, which we'll be sharing later.
Absolutely, yes.
A question from our first year MBA student, Evita D'Souza. Do you think that the youngsters planning for entrepreneurship would change their mind and move on to corporate jobs because of this current pandemic situation and the risks involved in it?
Thanks, Evita, for that question. Actually, good question. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, Nithish, continue.
Okay. Yes. So, see, I would not look at it that way at all. I think for fresh graduates and for young entrepreneurs, this is the best time, because all this while, I think there were a lot of external pressure, including parental pressure, saying when you have opportunities to get into corporate, when you have opportunities to get a great salary, why are you struggling through starting your own company, right? Right now, I think things have balanced out where the effort to get into a job also is equivalent. Uh, of course, yes, it is easier and somebody else will manage everything and you just have to do your job. But having said that, there are more problems to solve right now. There are great opportunities to tackle right now. And any small idea has the potential to really scale and become big. There are intrinsic challenges like funding. Funding will not come as easy as it used to come in the last 3 or 4 years for startups. But having said that, because of the external situations, because of little reduced pressure from people involved, this is a great time to start off. And I'm telling you also from a little bit of personal experience, because my wife was working for a design firm and now she started off. And through the pandemic, we've realized that because she's in the design, architectural design side of it, it was easy for her to start off. A lot more people were interested in designing their spaces, bettering their spaces. So, just one example, multiple such opportunities out there, pressures are lesser. As long as you can sustain for a short period of time until funding becomes easier, this is the best time to go out there in the market. And one more point out there is, right now, really, what do you say? People in higher up in the industries, people who are venture capitalists themselves, people who really fund such startups have more time because everybody is in the luxury of their homes. There is not a lot of movement, not a lot of travel that's happening. So you will get a better audience right now to approach people, strike out your ideas for the business are, and get good feedback, get relevant feedback more than any other time that we've ever seen. So that way, this is an opportune time, according to me.
Well, that was indeed a good session, Nitish, and a good number of questions were answered by you within the short span of time. Well, may I request Dr. Prakash Pinto to extend his word of thanks. Thank you.
I thank Mr. Nithish Bhat, AGM Environment Building System, for giving us insights on impact of COVID-19 on business development and strategies. Nitish, it was a very informative session and a lot of things you have covered within a short span of say 50 minutes. Thanks a lot for joining us and giving these insights. Thanks a lot.
It's my honor and for this opportunity. I thank all of you and all the students who've been part of this talk, and all the lecturers and the staff who've also been part of this talk as well. Thank you once again. I hope I've been able to make a small difference in all of you today.
You have made really a difference in the minds of the participants. Finally, I thank all the attendees for joining us and supporting us. Thanks a lot. With this, we close this session. Thank you.